So Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for ISKCON Seshadripuram Srivasangam chapter, morning Srimad Bhagavad-gītā class. Today we are discussing Bhagavad-gītā 8th chapter, Attaining the Supreme, verse number 22. Purushaha sa parahpartha bhaktya labhyastvi ananyaya yasyantahasthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated in him. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this verse is coming in this chapter called Attaining the Supreme, and the context of this is where Arjuna, in the beginning of this chapter, 8th chapter, is asking, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me." So there are many questions here, and Krishna is explaining very elaborately on each of these, and he's trying to explain to Arjuna. In this context, this particular verse is coming. So in this verse, there are 3-4 points which come out. So one is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's the word is Paraha Partha. Purusha sa para. So he is the what do you call the topmost. Paraha is the topmost of all the whatever exists, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all. That is the word Paraha, who is greater than all. And then the other one is Bhaktya Labhyaspi Ananyaya, where the importance is in terms of how can we attain that Supreme. It is through unalloyed devotion. Bhaktya Labhyas Ananyaya, that is unalloyed devotion. You can attain him through bhakti, unalloyed bhakti. Then about his situation, although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him. So while he is having a specific place of himself, which is also spoken in the previous verse, where he is saying that place from which having attained it, one never returns. That is my supreme abode. It is a previous verse where he is saying, so therefore there is a specific place which he has for himself, which is called the spiritual world, where the Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, he has his own specific place along with his devotees. He resides there. But at the same time, he is all-pervading. That means he is everywhere also. He is having complete control of everything that is possible, exist anywhere. That we will discuss a little later. And everything is situated within him. That is the other thing. So there are 5-6 specific pointers that is coming out here. Now we will try to see. Prabhupada here is quoting Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, that particular word from Brahma Samhita, and he's saying the place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. That place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a place which is full of spiritual bliss. Nothing there is material, he's saying. In the spiritual world, nothing there is material world, and there is huge variegatedness. And the variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead himself. So in the spiritual world, whatever exists is all completely in bliss. So we all know this anecdote or incident where even the boiling pot and the rice inside, they are also conscious. In Damodar Leela, we see that there's a mention that the rice is boiling, and the Yashoda Mataji will ask, "Hey, rice, have you cooked yourself? Have you cooked properly?" And the rice says, "No, wait for some more time," like that. right? So these kind of things are where the milk is just boiling, and then it feels ashamed that, it is boiling out of envy that, Mother Yashoda is actually feeding Krishna. Then what is the purpose of my life? And therefore it is trying to commit suicide. Acharya has explained like that. So it is boiling out, and then when Mother Yashoda tries to go and stop the milk from spilling over, later the milk feels repentant. Oh, what did I do? Why did I try to stop the transcendental loving exchange between Mother Yashoda and Krishna like this? So everything is so conscious, so blissful. There is nothing called material there. Your milk or the rice, we may think is a dead object, or something which is not alive. But they are also fully conscious. And what are they conscious about? Krishna. So in all these contexts, it is all about Krishna. The entire, and here Prabhupada writes, everything is actually all this variegatedness is an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself in that form, and then he extends it further, and therefore even the material world. And he says, in the 7th chapter we have already discussed that, the Lord talks about the higher energy and the lower energy and the marginal energy. And he says all these three are actually part of my energies. Therefore, the spiritual world is under the control of the higher energy, and the lower, the material world is part of the lower energy, inferior energy. And the marginal energy is this jivas. But he says everything, all these three are actually part of my energies. Therefore, in that sense, everything is ultimately an expansion of the Supreme Lord. Expansion means that doesn't mean we are therefore God, or all these material things are also God. Not in that sense, but they are all energy is an expansion of the person. So if I am speaking and you are able to hear my voice, that doesn't mean my voice is me, but it is my energy, right? Therefore, it is me in that sense. I am the voice is an energy which can reach all of your homes. That doesn't mean I am there in everyone's home in my material concept, but to very loosely to understand what it is, this energy is still mine, right? Therefore, I am. Though in Krishna's perspective, he is much beyond what we can think of the small example, but he can physically manifest in each of your homes also while he's sitting in his abode. Because that is the difference between the Vibhu and the Anu. That small example is to say that how it can, sometimes we think, how is it possible? How is it possible? So in material world, if my voice can pervade into so many different places, as far away to like 1,000 kilometers also, someone in US can also be hearing this. So that is within material conception, we can hear that. And maybe, as we go into more universes, maybe we can hear it in some other planet also. Those are all fine. But the Lord can physically manifest in that home also, like, which is not possible by any of us. Maybe some yogis can manifest little more powerful than some of us, then they can manifest also. But my understanding is yogi cannot manifest more than 7 times or 8 times, something like that. And he can do the same thing everywhere. It's not like he can do different things in different places, but Krishna can manifest 16,000, as an example, 16,108 manifestation to marry 16,108 gopis and doing different things in each home. These all we have seen. So there is a huge difference between that Jiva and that Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the fact is he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And and he's the greatest than all, and he's attainable by pure unalloyed devotion. That is the other point which is there. And how we will come to that, we will discuss that a little later after discussing the other 2 points. That will make us much more humble to understand that we need to surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then that unalloyed devotion automatically comes. The next 2 points are, although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. So how do we understand these things? So he is all pervading. He's present in his abode, but he's all pervading, and everything is situated within him. Now, how do we? Okay, this is understandable. Yes, I have understood, and we are also talking. Our philosophy also is very clear that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this achintya beda abeda tattva. Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. That means inconceivable, Achintya. Beda Abeda. Beda means different, inconceivably different, and Abeda is non-different. Tattva is that philosophy. So, on one side there is Mayavad philosophy, which says that everything is one, non-different, everything is one. On the other side, the Vaishnava philosophy, which says that, okay, no, it is, everything is completely two. There is no oneness in that. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reconciled both this. He says, yes, they are also one. At the same time, they are also different. And how is it this that we can completely see this is something which is inconceivable for the material brain? So that is the reconciliation. Therefore, there is oneness, but at the same time, the Lord has his own abode. He is pervading everywhere. He is available everywhere. He can manifest everywhere, and everything is under his control. But then that doesn't mean he's actually sitting here with us. He's in his own world, Goloka Vrindavan, enjoying whatever he wants to do. Not that do what I want him to do. He is completely independent. Out of his own sweet will, he will do whatever he wants to do. But that doesn't mean, therefore, let him be. I don't care for him. No. I need to care for him because he is pervading in every cell of mine. This is the understanding. And how do we, work in that relationship with that Lord? So sometimes, we practical application of these things. Sometimes we think, we are the doer, right? That also we would have discussed earlier that, we are not the doer. These activities are done by this material nature. 3 modes of material nature. We have read that. But in practicality application, it's slightly difficult. But how do we understand this? So we are doing some services, or sometimes, we have to perform we have to perform some service, and we find there's a lot of lack of resources. Then we start panting. We say, oh, how it can be done? I only have to do somehow or the other. And we sometimes, froth comes out of our mouth in doing things. While that mood is nice, that, I have to extend my fullest possible thing. But we should also be understanding that, or we go about shouting at other devotees and, trying to put them down and say, what are you all doing? You see how much I am doing, all these things. While that is nice to inspire, generally to inspire devotees that, to tell them that, they have to give their best and, they are most important. The philosophical thinking is also there that, while we are doing our best, it is out of our endeavor to purify ourselves. But actually, whatever we are doing is already being done by the Supreme Lord himself. We are not the doer. The Lord is actually manifesting it. Our only thing is that we are desiring, oh Lord, I want to do this for you. And that desire actually makes it happen. So the resources will fall in place. Things will happen. But as long as we have the mood that I am the doer, Krishna will say, okay, you think you can do everything, do it yourself. But if we have the mood that, Krishna, I am completely dependent on you, but I have a desire to do this for you, Krishna will make it all happen for you, but he will make it look like, you are doing it. Like the example of Arjuna. Arjuna says, I will not fight because this is all my bodily expansions. And therefore, I cannot kill these bodily expansions of mine. Krishna says, no, it is still already killed. You don't have to worry. Whether you want to do it or not, it is done. Then what is my role? But you can still do it and get that name. But anyway, it will happen. Whether you desire, if you don't desire to do it, you can step aside, absolutely free to do it. I'm not forcing you. But still your bodily expansions will all die. This is the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if then you come to this willing point of, no, Krishna, I will do whatever, but I am fully conscious that I am not the doer. Arjuna realizes even in the end, towards the end, he says, after Krishna leaves, he says, now Krishna empowered everything for me. Now he is left and somehow an ordinary coward boy defeated me. So where is that same Arjuna? Where is the big Gandiva? Everything was there. But why he was not able to do? Because at that point in time, he felt not favored by Krishna, because he related that to Krishna having gone back, and therefore he's lost all his powers. So this all clearly shows if you are dependent on Krishna, you are the most powerful person in the entire universe. But if we are dependent on our capacity, we are very limited. So this is a big realization that is coming through all these, great personalities like Arjuna. That as long as you are dependent on Krishna, it look like. So that's why, Jayapatak Maharaj, my spiritual master, he sings that song. No? Mukam karoti vachalam pangum nungayate girim yat kripatam hamade shri gurum dinatarine. That means even a dumb, what do you call, one who cannot speak, dumb person, he can give a big lecture. And the one who is actually not having his legs, but he can climb huge mountains. How? By the mercy of the Guru, but the expansion of that Guru is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Adi Guru. So this is the most mood that we need to be in, that, our mood should be that I will work for the Lord, but I know at every point I am dependent on the Lord. And Prabhupada, when he was doing, building this big movement at 70-year-old, practically impossible for a human person to do this. But he did not think that it is happening out of my ability, that I, as Prabhupada, is the great person that I'm doing. He was always thinking, oh Krishna, you wanted me to do this, my spiritual, and you instructed to my spiritual master. I'm trying to do my best. Plus you, but you please do what you want to do. I am an instrument in your hand. He wrote one poem like that. But you can see that later, how it all happened. And Prabhupada every time says, I never did it. You are all doing it. He gives credit to others. But the point is, and he had all the time in the world for everything. It's not like, he's like any material person that he is too much overwhelmed with so many things. Everything was completely under control, even though he's running a worldwide movement in the 1970s. It's not easy. With so much email, so much communication, so much technology, artificial intelligence, we are trying to do things today. But they're nothing. We have to sit with an ink pen and write that, post it, and then that will go and reach some person. And based on that instruction, he will write. If you have to make a phone call, you have to book a telegram, and on that time, that phone will, you get the ability to make a phone call out of the country. And Prabhupada was managing the entire world, not simply one country or something like that, right? But his dependent on Krishna was that everything was so smoothly happening. And we need to do our best. That is it. We need to do our best. And it's not like, I am the only person who will do, and everybody, I just, they are all immaterial. Like, the case of Hanuman and the squirrel. When Hanuman was also trying to, because it's a very big mission to go to Sri Lanka and, save Mother Sita, and Rama is in big distress, so to seemingly distressed that, time is of essence. We need to just run, kill that Ravana and bring back Mother Sita. So Hanuman is very working very hard, picking big boulders and putting there so that one boulder can cover 10 steps so we can go faster. But there is also the squirrel which is trying to put one small, one squirrel, how many stones it can put to even make one stone, one footstep for Rama to keep and move on. So then he will be shouting at the squirrel, hey, you move out here, don't disturb here, like this. But Rama will see this and say, no, Hanuman, don't do this. He's doing his service, and I am equal to both your services. His service is as important to me as yours. Anyway, the bridge will be built. That is there. It is not that because, he's just giving an example. Of course, Hanuman's service was most important. But our mind should not think, oh, because I am doing this, everything is happening. Because he's there in everything and he's in control of everything. Everything will happen by his free will. Our thing is to desire. So he gives these many examples like that to bring home the point. So that talks about, therefore, when such a personality is there, what is our role? Ananya Bhakti. Simply perform pure devotional service without any expectation to that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Surrender ourselves to the Supreme Lord. And then when he is pleased, everything else is perfect. If he is not pleased, whatever we try to do is of no significance. He should be pleased. All our endeavor is to please him. That should be the priority of all our activities. These activities have been given. Why? So that we can put in our best and we can please him. But if I am in the process of thinking that I am doing great activity, but if I am not able to please the Vaishnavas, the spiritual master, and thereby the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is the use of my service? So that is something which we need to have in mind as we progress in our Krishna consciousness. Is this, am I supposed to finish at 7, Prabhu? I don't know, I've gone little
No,
more.
7:15.
7:15. Okay, so that is good. Then I have more time. Let me see some more points here. Prabhupada is explaining. Now, I have given you the summary. In between some of the specific words Prabhupada is trying to explain. Let us look at that. Yasyantah sthani means that everything is sustained within him. Within either his spiritual or material energy, the Lord is all-pervading by these two energies that we have discussed. Let's look at the other aspect. Then he's talking about this Vaikuntha planet where he's saying, you can enter the Vaikuntha planet only by this Ananya Bhakti. That means you can enter up to Brahma Loka with our punya karma, or if someone is very eager to go and see the lower planetary systems by our papa, we can go. Or, even Prabhupada has written this book, Easy Journey to whatever, other planets. So if we want to go to Brahma Loka, we can go. If we want to go to Patala Loka, we can go. But the same way, I cannot say, okay, I will therefore easy journey to Vaikuntha Loka. Prabhupada has made it easy. That's a different thing for all of us. But in reality, generally, in the way we think, we cannot easily reach the Vaikuntha Loka. So that can be done only by reached only by pure devotional service. And Prabhupada is writing, is possible only by bhakti, devotional service, as clearly indicated here by the word bhaktya. No other process can help one to attain the supreme abode. This is another important aspect. No other process can help us attain that supreme abode. Therefore, we can say, okay, there are many philosophies existing in the world. You can keep on reading, you can keep on discussing, you can keep on debating on so many philosophies, right? We just now talked about Mayavad, we talked about Vaishnava philosophy. There are so many others. Other ways people talk about that, the self-realization journey. But who gives the verdict? Okay, if I am intelligent, I can argue in a way. And if Sri Hari Prabhu is intelligent, he can argue in a way. And Sri Hari Prabhu may be more intelligent than me, and he may defeat me in the process. And he'll say, oh, you see, I have defeated you, and therefore you accept me. Earlier, it used to be like this. The philosophical debates used to happen. And whoever is able to defeat the other person, the person who is defeated has to accept him and accept his philosophy, become his disciples, and follow that path. So the person who's more intelligent can defeat, and then we have to surrender to that philosophy and move on. But this can keep on happening. But there could be another person who can defeat this person and change him back to what that original first defeated person is following this person. And another person who is following the original person's philosophy, the one who got defeated his philosophy, if he defeats this person who originally defeated, then he will go back to that philosophy. So this can keep on happening. I mean, I'm just exaggerating, but this can happen, right? Theoretically it can happen, in which case there is no absolute way of finding that absolute truth through our mental speculation and philosophical debates. You can only get it from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because we are made of these 4 defects. Therefore, some defect or the other can pull us down from understanding the absolute truth. Therefore, the truth should come only from that Lord himself, which we take it as just as an instruction, no argument, no discussion, nothing. He says, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrender unto me. Yes, boss, I'm surrendering unto you. So ultimately, we should come to that platform. Of course, Krishna says, don't blindly accept. He says, no, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So we need to have that inquiry, but you can't be going on inquiring all through our life. Then there's no time to practice that whatever we learned through that inquiry. So we need to come to this point of complete surrender and bhakti process. And Prabhupada writes, the Vedas also describe the supreme abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eko vasi sarva go Krishnaha. That means the definition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead very clear, no confusion. Oh, is he the God? Is he God is so many people. But who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is saying this particular word, Eko vasi sane gaha Krishnaha. In that abode, there is only one Supreme Personality of Godhead whose name is Krishna. So the definition is clear. Why to speculate? Oh, is it that person? Is it this person? No. It is given in the Vedas to say that in that supreme planet, there is only one supreme God, and that supreme God's name is Sri Krishna. That is also given very clearly. Then I'm just trying to only quote this, some of these specific words Prabhupada used.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu. Can you
I
unmute
got
yourself?
muted. Yeah. Okay. Then he also quotes one more verse. He says, the Brahma Samhita 5.37 also confirms that although the Lord is always in the supreme abode Goloka Vrindavan, he is all pervading. So that everything is going on nicely. So he is quoting this one, Goloka eva nivasati akilata bhutam, akilatma bhutam. And he says, as stated in the Veda Svetashvara Upanishad, Parashya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyaha Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriya Cha. His energies are so expansive that they systematically conduct everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although the Supreme Lord is far, far away. So all of these quotes that Prabhupada is substantiating, using to substantiate his presentation of the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he can be reached through Ananya Bhakti, and no other process can take you there. And while he is residing in his own supreme abode, he is all pervading and everything is within him. So these are some of the things that we can come to know through this verse. So I will end here. If there are any questions or comments, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
You were telling about the Achintya Bheda Abheda philosophy propounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
It basically the duality or the non-duality, which is very subtle, you said, is between the Vibhu and the Anu, right?
Yes. So, the non-devotees, or rather the Mayavadis, simply say that everything is one. Ultimately, I am also God. When I am coming to this pure state of consciousness, I merge into the God and then I lose my existence.
Mm-hmm.
That,
so that
I
becomes a
become
non-duality.
That is non-duality.
Abheda.
Non-duality.
Okay.
That means ultimately everything is just one. Don't try to differentiate that at all. There is one. I am also God. That is their philosophy.
Okay. But we don't believe that. We believe that we are all different from the Vibhu.
So if you take that stand completely as, on the other extreme, that there is two. There is nothing called oneness at all. That is that, duality. That whichever philosophy is like we say, Dvaita. Absolute plane, if you are thinking, that is one side of it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's point is, there is truth in both.
Mm-hmm.
How do you understand that truth? Oneness, as in that doesn't you don't lose your existence. That is what he's trying to explain. Because at the end of the day, you are also energy of the Lord, so you are one with the Lord. That doesn't mean you lose your existence. In that sense, you retain your individuality, therefore it's duality. So there is truth in both, but don't take it absolutely, in verbatim like that. So that is the way he is reconciling both.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Sri Hari Prabhu, if there are no more questions, over to you.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.